Healthy Living is brought to you by Northwell's Cardiovascular Institute, treating the untreatable with the nation's highest cardiac success rates.
June is Men's Mental Health Month, and for many men, asking for help or making time for self-care can still carry a stigma, and that can be especially true for Black men. Today, we're talking about mindfulness, healing, and redefining what strength looks like. Therapist Jor-El Caraballo, and author of Mindful Meditations for Black Men, Restorative Practices to Soothe Mind, Body, and Spirit, joins us now. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
As a Black man myself, I appreciate this conversation. It's like awesome. No, but seriously though, why must we distinguish between people of color and mindfulness? Why is that important?
Yeah, well, really for me, I wanted to make sure that Black men were a part of the conversation of wellness and mindfulness. You know, I came up in a time where my family, my community wasn't really talking about mental health, therapy, mindfulness, and so I wanted to be able to share something that really positively impacted me and maybe introduce it to a group of people who didn't have as much access to it, who don't see themselves reflected in this kind of content. And so that's why I wanted to focus some of my work on speaking to Black men directly.
And you talk about in your book, you talk about mind, body, and spirit,
Yes,
correct? And
yes.
why is that so important and significant?
Yeah, I think mind, body, and spirit are all connected and they make up our mental health, right? The systems of medicine have historically sort of disentangled them, right? And so we like to think of, especially for men, we like to prioritize our bodies. And we forget that we also have spirits, we also have minds that require health and attention. And so I really wanted to, in the book, sort of merge these connections for people and say all these things are interconnected and we should be paying attention to all of them, really.
I always think, I always say, I wish we had a mirror for our mind. Like we look in the mirror, it's like, oh, my biceps look good, my chest, I look good in this outfit, but when it comes to your mind, it's equally, if not more important than the actual physical body to be healthy.
Absolutely. Well, and this is sort of what I think mindfulness does. It offers you the opportunity to look inside yourself and sort of step outside of your day-to-day experiences and say, well, what's going on in my person, in my body, in my spirit? What am I thinking? What am I feeling? And maybe what do I need to do next?
Let's talk about redefining masculinity a little bit, because, you know, for generations it's been like, oh man, you know, rub some dirt on it, like you're gonna be fine. But now masculinity, it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to say, like, I'm having a moment. Like it still makes you a man. It still makes you a masculine person if you can still do that.
Yeah, I think we're getting there, right? And I think there's so much work that still needs to be done in terms of opening up these conversations, making sure that groups of men, especially together, can talk honestly about what their experiences are. Yeah, I think there's so much that we still need to do in order to make sure that we are taking care of ourselves just like women take care of themselves every day.
You talk about faith as well.
Yeah.
And you talk about how mental health doesn't have to interfere with faith.
Yeah.
They can live together and coincide in a healthy way, right?
Yeah, and I think especially for Black community in particular, there's been this sort of divergence of faith and mental health. And so when people are struggling with mental health issues, real serious conditions, you know, a lot of times the first stop is to seek religious or spiritual support, which is not wrong, right? But it may not be sufficient for what they're dealing with. And so the idea in the book and all the things that I write is that these two things can coexist. We can merge them together. They don't have to be in conflict. And it's really about finding what uniquely works to support you. And that can include faith. It could include medication. It could include therapy.
Right.
All of it can work together.
Talking to somebody I always find is so important. Just feeling like, you know, you're not alone.
Absolutely.
Like a lot of people go through this, and
Yes.
there's a soothing element to that.
Absolutely.
What is Black Boy Joy?
Black Boy Joy is really, it's just this beautiful idea that really caught attention online a few years ago that is prioritizing the happiness and the expression.
Right.
Because I think one of the things that Black men deal with in particular is like we're taught to be really cool characters at all costs. And so being able to allow ourselves to express the fullness of our joy, the happiness, to frolic in the meadows, to, I don't know, ride swings and to sing and dance in the street, you know, whatever it is, I think is really important to allow us that freedom.
Let go a little bit and
Let
allow
go a
yourself
little bit.
to find some joy in the little things. What are you only have a few minutes during the day to maintain your sanity and have some mental health. What are some steps? What are some tips, you think?
Yeah, so here's a good one I recommend to pretty much everyone. You don't have to be a Black man for this one. Is hopefully you're hydrated enough. You use the restroom a few times a day. You know, you're taking care of your body.
Right.
You have your vessel. every time you walk into a restroom, that's a good moment to take a beat and say, hey, how am I doing? How's the day going? How am I feeling? Do I notice anything happening in my body? And that can give you a nice little temperature check to be mindful about what you're going through and maybe what you need for the rest of the day. It's a nice little check.
I've never felt that in a restroom. I've never said this is my moment. I mean, it is.
Right? Sometimes it's the only moment.
It could be many moments at once.
Yeah, it can be.
It could be a beautiful thing.
If you need to.
I hope it's a good restroom, though. We'll put a list of the greatest restrooms in the tri-state area you can have your moment in. That's wonderful. That's
Absolutely.
really great news. And it's something that we all do.
Hopefully.
Because I'm sitting in traffic, and it's a time to be alone. When it's,
right.
I'm like too stressed to meditate.
Absolutely.
The bathroom is a place where you can kind of be alone.
Just take 30 seconds.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. Great tips. Awesome stuff. Here it is. I got a copy right here. Pick up a copy of Mindful Meditations for Black Men wherever books are sold.